Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I am Monique Odom, and I'm Director of Metro Parks and Recreation, and I want to thank all of you for coming out this morning to celebrate the ribbon cutting of this wonderful center. I want to recognize, first of all, some dignitaries in the audience. First of all, our Park Board Chair, who will come to the podium in just a few, George Anderson, Council Member Tanaka Vercher, former Council Member and Property Assessor Vivian Wilhoit, Council Member at Large John Cooper, Council Member at Large Jim Schulman, of course, your illustrious councilperson who will be up at the podium in just a few moments, Karen Johnson, former former council member Sandra Moore, State Representative Brenda Gilmore, Judge Linda Jones, former Parks Board member Arnett Bodenhammer. Where are you, Mr. Bodenhammer? And former Parks Director, Mr. Tommy Lynch. And council member at large, Ms. Sharon Hurt, who I almost missed. Good to see you this morning. I did. Thank you. I did. Did I miss anyone? People are shouting out that if I miss, you charge it to my head and not my heart. We're trying to write, see, I have all these names written down. So we're glad that you are here to share this excitement with us nonetheless. I also want to thank all of our parks teammates who have not only worked on the development and the construction of this facility and park, but have also worked hard, tirelessly, I might say, to make sure this is a special day for all of us to enjoy. So thank you to everybody at Parks and Recreation. I hope you all are as excited as we are about this new community center and park. This is your facility for meetings, for socializing, for exercising, and for aquatics, which is good. This facility was designed and programmed for you, and we want you to consider it your home away from home. So, in considering it your home away from home, we also want you to help us take care of it, okay? Help us take care of it. Before I introduce Council Member Karen Johnson, I'd like to thank some of the businesses that generously donated to this event today. Compton's Grocery, which is right across the street. The always busy Shell gas station. H&T Home Cooking. The Nashville Village Kroger. Starbucks. Bojangles. Jersey Mike's. Mount Carmel Church. Publix. And the famous Homestyle Bakery. I see that Council Member Sherry Weiner has joined us, and I want to acknowledge her as well. Good to see you. And with that, please welcome to the podium our former Park Board member, our current council member of this area, and our Register of Deeds elect, Karen Johnson.
Jackie told me, do not cry. Woo, Lordy. I didn't think I would do that. Welcome, everybody. This has been a long time coming. So many people have contributed to helping make this center possible here today. This is huge for a community, and I learned that by being a member of the park board. When former Mayor Bill Purcell believed in me and appointed me to a board and commission because he said that we don't see a lot of young people interested in local government. He gave me a chance as a young person at 34 years old to get involved with local government. Many of you, my neighbors, know how hard it is to get projects completed in our various communities. But one of the things that we have struggled with out here in Antioch is the fact that we were always left behind the rest of the city. So it took a tremendous amount of work to get people to understand that we needed to have access to the same amenities, to school facilities, and to those things that improve our quality of life. All of us are warriors. And I thank all of you for standing beside all of your council members out here. I did not do this alone. I'm standing up here speaking. But there were other council members that I worked with, like Councilwoman Tanaka Virtue helped me to make sure that this continued on the track. Councilwoman Jacobia Dowell, former Councilman Robert Duvall, former Councilman and now Judge Sam Coleman. Yes. Councilman Jason Potts, former Councilman Dwayne Dominy, Councilwoman Antoinette Lee. All of these council members, even Councilmember Holly Huzo, she's worked with me on things such as this as well. And then we had former council members that also worked very hard on this. So I just want you all to know it's not a Karen show. This is about a team effort by many community leaders. Karen Van Cleve in the back, Leland Evans, Dee Porterfield, all of these folks, they helped us to do various things to bring this to fruition today. So at Arnett Bodenhammer, Lord, we could not have done this without him. He served on the Planning Commission. He served behind the scenes in many different capacities, talking with our finance team to make sure that this project stayed on track, as well as many others. State Representative Brenda Gilmore, thank you for always being out here and being visible and supportive of our efforts. Senator Thelma Harper, she's done the same thing. Yes, and Senator Jeff Yarbrough and State Representative Mike Stewart. These are people that have worked with me and other community leaders out here. State Representative Sherry Jones, to make sure that these type projects take shape. A $9.5 million project doesn't take shape with just one person. Former Mayor Carl Dean, hugely instrumental. I can't thank former Mayor Carl Dean enough for believing in Antioch. He was the mayor that decided that Antioch mattered. So I want everybody to know that. And then our former mayor, Megan Berry, kept this on track, okay? And then my friend and the outstanding current mayor, David Browley, he made sure he was there as vice mayor, helping all of us to make sure these projects stayed on track. And then when he became mayor, he said, we're going to make sure, no matter what, that we make sure this building is completed. And so I thank you, Mayor Browley, for your commitment to the people of Nashville in making sure that every community matters in Nashville, Davidson County. The mayor has a tremendous amount of responsibility, and I want people to know that. Don't take it lightly. Those who step up to serve us in that capacity, it's a huge responsibility. And we often look at the state and federal level and get excited about voting, But we need to be excited about voting at the local level because that's what touches your community the most. Another person that I really want to thank, and I know I'm up here thanking a lot of people because it's just important. George Anderson sat next to me when I was a member of the Parks Board. And he remembered the passion when I was sitting there saying, you all have got to help us. Stan Fossick, former director, Tommy Lynch. Where you at, Tommy? You all, this is a hero. Monique Odom, the current Parks Director, they work together, hand in glove, to make sure that Antioch mattered with our Hickory Hollow location and now this. They did not put this on the back burner because we built Hickory Hollow. And so I thank you all for that. I thank you. I also want to thank the artist, Herb Williams. I gave him a hard time. People would tell you that I wasn't so optimistic about the artwork at first. I didn't know what the artwork was going to be. But he worked with this entire community. I've never seen an artist who comes out and actually spends time in the community making sure that artwork was representative of what the people wanted, not what Karen Johnson or any elected official wanted. He wanted to make sure the artwork reflected what the people wanted. And when we made our art selection committee recommendations, it was Amanda Blowen, Jessica Coleman, is Jessica here? Juan Choi, Karen Hayden. Karen Hayden owns the frame shop here on Murfreesboro Road. Cynthia Dirksen, always there, my rock. Rebecca Ratz, Carter Andrews, Taylor Wells, Marlos Ivan, am I right? Okay. Katie Shaw and Katie Delmetz. All of you who served on that arts committee, when we get ready to cut the ribbon, I want you up here with the Parks Board, with all the elected officials. This is a collaborative thing. I want anybody who's appointed to a board and commission to join us today with the ribbon cutting. Karen Van Cleve, don't stand back there, okay? This is a joint effort. And I thank everybody. I'm very, very emotional right now. I had a lot of stuff prepared, but my biggest thing was I wanted to thank people. And so with that, I'm going to end because everybody is hot. They want to get into the center. And before we do that, I want to make sure that the person who made sure, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Okay, I'm sorry. Someone took it. Jimmy Jones, where's Jimmy Jones? There we go. This was Jimmy Jones's property that we're standing on. And Jimmy will tell you that he was committed to the community. There was originally over 238 townhomes that were slated. Sorry, you all. 238 townhomes. You all know we already have a hard time getting down Smith Springs Road. But there were 238 townhomes that was slated for this property. And he decided to work with Metro government to help transition that when I first got in office to a park. And we would not be seeing this today if it was not for your efforts to help us to preserve this property. his father was the first councilman for this area of Antioch. And he may mention that a little bit. And he let me drive around his truck and didn't even know me. But I say all that to say, I love each and every one of you. I thank you for your confidence in all of us as your leaders out here in Antioch. We've worked tremendously hard and we're still not through. And at this time, I'm going to bring up the esteemed Jimmy Jones, who is the owner, well, was the owner. Metro government is now the owner, but was the owner that gave this beautiful property to the city. Thank you.
Wow. I really didn't expect this many people to be here. So. Mr. Mayor, and all of the other distinguished people that are here today, I thank you for being here and in honoring my family that I am honoring my family that lived on this hill for over 100 years. If there's any of my family that is here, don't let me take, if you will, stand here while I'm speaking, because I was told to keep it short. In approximately 1900 or thereabouts, my grandparents, Timothy Johnson Russell and Anna Louise Rowlett, moved into this community. He was a sharecropper. And somewhere around 1906, he purchased this land at where we're standing. And he farmed it all the way up until his death. He had 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. My mother being the oldest of the 2 girls and being 4th in line. The story goes that he would take his produce and put it on the wagon and carry it to some 12 to 14 miles to Nashville. And then he would sell all of his produce and buy the provisions and load it on his wagon, make his bed in his wagon, and put it on autopilot. His horse brought him home. So he slept all the way back. In 1926, my mother married James Melvin Jones, working for the County Highway Department, as did his dad. He was a bridge builder. His brother was the chief mechanic for the Highway Department, and Dad drove the very first truck that the County Highway Department ever purchased. He had to go to the war in World War II, and so the farm went by the wayside. Coming back, his life changed, and he moved in a different direction, and he worked for Radnor Plumbing Company, and he went and he ran for office and was elected several terms to the Quarterly Court of Davidson County, which your grandfather chaired, the Honorable Beverly Briley. Funny how things turn in a circle. Life on this hill was just as full of love as you can possibly think and care. For I've seen my dad stand on the front porch of this old home place and give money to men that were too ashamed to come in daylight but at dark to ask for $1 or to ask for a job. Or what fascinated me was marrying people. My mother being the witness. When this place was razed, when my grandparents had died, my parents had died, and I stood and watched these homes razzed, it inspired me to write songs, and I wrote 2 songs. And I think someone here that has those 2 songs. But I do wish that the love and care that existed on this hill, that permeated on this hill, will be carried forth in this grand endeavor that Metropolitan Nashville has done for our community, Smith Springs.
Let's give it up for Jimmy Jones. And now I have the esteemed honor and privilege to introduce the artist whose artwork that you're going to see in the grand entrance of the community center, the esteemed artist Herb Williams.
Well, before you go, I wanted to give a piece to Karen. This is a part of the sculpture inside that has to do with the entire history of the community. This is one of the mason jars where all the community members and the old farmers who were here would trade their goods and vegetables and, you know, go out and harvest the land. And I just wanted to give a piece back, you know, to you. And thank you all so much for letting me be a part of this. Yeah, thank you. I can't wait for y'all to see this. It's hot out there, but it's your work, and I hope it reflects the richness of your community. You have beautiful stories, rich history, and I tried to convey that and bring, you know, how proud you were of the lake kind of inside. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much.
Okay, now I will bring up Park Board Chair George Anderson, my friend, George Anderson, seatmate.
Thank you, Karen. Whoop. Karen and I sat beside each other many, many hours in park board meetings. And as much as Karen has thanked everybody, she deserves the biggest thank you of anybody here. Thank you for your 24/7 tireless commitment and dedication to this community, and your passion, most importantly, and persistence in making this event happen today. Don't kid yourselves, it is Karen's persistence and passion that got us here today. Amazing. Before I step on those, I'm honored to be here today to celebrate the grand opening of this long-awaited and needed regional facility. For those of you who don't know, we have 19 neighborhood centers. With the addition of Smith Springs, we now have a total of 9 regional facilities across Davidson County. Our regional centers differ from our neighborhood centers in that they offer fully equipped state-of-the-art fitness center, a gymnasium, an indoor walking track, a dance and movement room, multi-purpose meeting spaces, and in the case of Smith Springs, a great pool, and it is fabulous. I've just seen it. This center, like all regional centers, will reflect the diverse interests of the surrounding community, offering programs such as group fitness classes, after-school programs, youth and adult sports, and in this case, the new pool, aquatic classes and programs. Now, with so many dynamic programs and events scheduled for the center, I want you to meet some of the people that you'll be seeing here on a daily basis. If you'll just raise your hand, and I'll just read the names. Barbara Manuel is our facility coordinator. Our program coordinators are Sabrina Williams in aquatics, Lauren Branham in recreation, Copernicus Johnson, who's not here in fitness. Let's see. Our recreation leaders are Brianna Morrow, Reginald Robinson, are they all here? Stella Reed, Fiorella Polomino, Felicia Nathan, and Marquette Knight. And our seasonal employees, Tatiana Parham and Carolyn Abuyamin. Thank y'all for being here. And these are the folks who will make your visit productive, safe, and fun. In other words, they will work so you and Nashville can play. We know this center is a vibrant focal point for this community, offering kids a safe place to play, young people and adults a variety of recreational opportunities, and seniors a place to gather and socialize. On behalf of the parks, thank you for the opportunity to help bring such a needed asset to this area. And now I would like to introduce and also thank Mayor David Bradley, not only for supporting this facility, but for his unwavering support of parks and greenways. Mayor Bradley.
Thank you, George, and Monique, and Council Lady Karen Johnson, my longtime friend. But before, I don't want to acknowledge anybody else who's already been acknowledged. What I think is probably most important is for me to acknowledge all of the people here who live in our community, who pay taxes, and give us the opportunity to fulfill the needs of this city. And this is one of those fulfillments. Mr. Jones, our circles do happen, right? This is an interesting one. I didn't know until I got here how closely our circles would intersect. And certainly this is a legacy for your family, and it's an indication of what Nashville is truly all about people, the people who've been here for a long time and have built the place, and we all need to acknowledge them. Herb, for those of you who don't, this is uniquely meaningful to me because Herb and I do share a very unique circle together as well. Our sons started in preschool together when they were just 6 weeks old, and we have crossed paths many times since then. I had no idea just a few months ago that I would be standing here with Herb. And for all of those, for everyone who is here, I'm going to make one request as it relates to Herb Williams. Will you give him a hug today? I mean, he'll know why. He'll know why. And so I'm not going to say much more. I just want to say that as long as I am mayor of this city, we will focus tirelessly on making sure that no matter what zip code, no matter what neighborhood you live in, you will have a chance to reach your fullest potential. And that is going to happen every single day as we look for places like this. Your zip code shouldn't tell me how old you're going to be when you die, but today it does. And so we're going to fix that in our city by making sure that we build community centers just like this in every single neighborhood in our town. We're going to make sure that Southeast Davidson County gets a regional park. We're going to do those things. Because until we do that, we are always going to be stuck in a situation where somebody's zip code, when they are born, determines so much about where they're going to end up at the end of their life. And that is just not right, and that is something I will fight to change every single day that I'm given the privilege of being the mayor of this city. So, thank you. That must be somebody looking for a Southeast Regional Park, I'm thinking. Is that right? Is that right, Tanika Vercher? Is that right? Now, I had hoped to surprise everyone by stripping into my swimming suit right now. But my advisors recommended that was not appropriate at this point in time. So instead of doing that and running to the pool, I'm going to ask that those who were responsible for cutting the ribbon to move forward so that we can do that and get inside. Thank you.
And before we cut this ribbon, I forgot these flowers on the ground here. Everybody's like, what are the flowers for? Before we do that, Herb, these are for you. And then Jimmy Jones, these are for you. And that's on behalf of everyone in this community. And before we cut the ribbon, I want our Board of Zoning Appeals Commissioner, Alma Sanford, who I did not acknowledge, who's my rock, who I wouldn't be elected without, to please come up. And am I missing anybody to come up here? Okay, John Cooper. Anybody else? Where's Karen Van Cleve? Linda Jones. Where's Linda Jones? Sandra Moore, I cut your ribbon with you at your community center, and we need to have you here.